The headlines to the CBC NewsNight. Police reveal the cause of death of a St. Michael man who complained of being beaten. Government prepares for its second debt for climate swap. 2 murders within 15 hours keep police busy.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight with the details. I'm Wendy Burr. Amidst a social media furore and calls for an investigation into the death of Albert John of Kensington New Road, St. Michael, police today held a news conference to explain what caused his death. They say 62-year-old John died of sepsis and other related causes. Commissioner of Police Richard Boyce says a post-mortem was performed on November 13th and a government pathologist found a swollen groin area, a tender stomach, gangrene and sepsis, and notes that the injuries were non-life-threatening.
Conclusion, he determined that the deceased's cause of death was related to those things which I mentioned, that is swollen scrotum, and also having that large bulge in that area. It constricted the blood vessels and then brought on the sepsis and other conditions which I mentioned before. And because of that, it was ruled as a natural cause.
According to police reports, John got into an argument with his great-nephew Andre Alleyne on November 2nd over a sum of money. During the argument, an unknown person struck John in his back and the matter was reported to police. He was subsequently treated at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital with superficial wounds to his hands, thigh and side, and was later discharged and told to return in a week's time. However, on November 10th, a passerby found John at the side of the road on White Park Road. The ambulance was summoned and John was said to be sweating profusely, dehydrated, and complained of pain to the groin area after being beaten. At the QEH, he complained of difficulty breathing before going into cardiac arrest and quickly passed away. Commissioner Boyce made it abundantly clear that the investigation remains open and notes all information brought in connection with John's death will be followed in spite of the natural cause of death. He says he's satisfied with police investigations and also urges anyone with information to come forward.
In the interests of clarity, transparency, and making sure that persons are held accountable for their actions, we will continue to put emphasis on having this matter brought to a conclusion whereby members of the public will be satisfied that a complete and decent job was done where this victim, now deceased, is concerned.
Police are investigating a stabbing death at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex. Dead is 65-year-old Terry Tyrone Harper of Apple Grove, Blackrock, St. Michael. Reports indicate at about 10:35 p.m. last night, Operations Control received reports of the stabbing and that the individual had fallen into the water. Meanwhile, Caleb Waif, 24, of Small Land Bridge Gap, St. Michael, has been shot dead. A report issued by police says Waif was sitting on the step of an apartment at Belfield Land, Blackrock, St. Michael, when an assailant dressed in all black and wearing a mask fired one shot, hitting him. Waif was transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by private motorcar, where doctors pronounced him dead on arrival. Police are appealing to anyone who can provide any information to contact the Criminal Investigations Department at 430-7189 or 7190. Blackrock Police Station at 417-7500, Police Emergency at 211, or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-TIPS. The Barbados government is preparing to borrow $600 million as it seeks to engage in a debt for climate swap. The revelation from Minister in the Ministry of Finance Ryan Strawn as he moved a resolution to approve the borrowing of the money from 3 commercial banks, CIBC Caribbean Bank, Scotiabank and RBC Royal Bank. He explained the funds will be used to buy back an approximate equivalent amount in high-cost Government of Barbados debt at a cheaper interest rate of 3.25%.
The use of this $600 million, sir, is to repurchase existing debt, which is currently, some of it is currently now, the interest rate is at as high as 8%, sir. And we are going to repurchase some of that debt in order to reissue at a lower level in order to be able to finance, sir, the upgrade of the South Coast sewage plant.
The 20-year loan from the banks will have a grace period of 5 years, 3 months. Mr. Strawn explains the savings from buying back the debt will be used to pay back another loan, which will be borrowed from the Green Climate Fund and the Inter-American Development Bank. That loan will be used to fund the construction of the tertiary plant as well as a mains replacement to allow the treated water to be channeled to farms for agricultural use.
These savings will approximate to roughly about 150 million US dollars, sir. And therefore, if you accept, sir, over that period of time, we borrow the money up front, sir, to build the plant and the related infrastructure and use the savings to pay off the capital loan that we are going to incur from IDB as well as the GCF in part. Then, in fact, sir, we would not have increased the debt at all.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Ralph Thorne says the transaction is yet another loan Barbadians will have to repay. He is questioning whether government has departed from its plan to place greater emphasis on local debt.
The lady as far away as St. Lucie and St. Joseph and St. Andrew and St. Philip and Christchurch West. They have to repay these loans, and if not them, their children and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And therefore, John Citizen and Mary Citizen want to know today whether this government has not breached its earlier promise, its earlier objective to place more reliance on local debt as opposed to foreign debt.
Prime Minister Mayor Motley is making it clear that the $600 million government will be borrowing is being used to pay down debt. Speaking on the resolution to approve the borrowing of the money from 3 commercial banks, PM Motley said the debt ranges from 4.5% to 8% for Series D and E bonds respectively, and 3.75% for Series B bonds.
The member for Christchurch, East Central, spoke to the fact that there are targets. There are targets for the last debt for nature too. And what are the consequences of the targets? It's not like the Credit Suisse loan that the Democratic Labour Party brought in here in December 2013, where the penalties went up by hundreds of basis points. Member for St. Michael South Central can speak to that. This debt, if you miss a target for a quarter, will go up by 10 basis points. You know what 10 basis points is, sir? 0.1%. In other words, it's a lot, 0.2%. Those are the two amounts, depending on when it comes, that there will be the penalty. 10 or 20 basis points, 100 basis points is 1 percentage point.
PM Motley explains the debt for climate swap will allow government to draw $240 million immediately to finance vital projects.
For the entire year, we don't expect to get more than $490 million in income taxes. So that getting $240 million is the equivalent of half of the income taxes that the government of Barbados took last year, or will take this year. And that's just to give you scale. The debt for nature swap that we did in 2022 will only garner us half of that, but over 15 years. And with the time, the price of money, Obviously changes because of inflation. In this instance, we draw $240 million immediately up front within the majority now, and the rest to the Water Authority within a 5-year period.
And the minister is also putting the country on notice that government will be going after a debt for social swap.
I co-chair the Sustainable Development Goals, which is fundamentally about development and bringing development to people. And if we can reduce our interest rate by buying back more debt and use the savings to increase Barbados' social capital, to do for the disabled community what I said 2 weeks ago when I spoke in here, when he said he didn't see me for how long, but he just happened to speak in the resolution for the disabled community. When we can buy and do more stuff in healthcare, when we can buy and do more stuff in education or community development or crime prevention, that is what a debt for social swap will give us.
Minister of Home Affairs and Information Wilfred Abrams has responded to a question from opposition leader Ralph Thorne about whether sewage is currently being pumped into the sea. Mr. Abrams says releasing treated sewage out to sea has been the practice since the plant was first constructed.
We take it out, do basic treatment, and then we send it out to sea. That's the reality. We accept we need to move away from that. Ain't that we chose that? It's not that this government chose that. The last government had it, and the government before had it, and the government before that had it. We have said this is no longer the way. It is acceptable. It is acceptable. But this is no longer the way. We can do better.
Coming up, international investors invited to do business in Barbados. Minister in the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Investment, Senator Chad Blackman, is inviting investors from international countries to set up shops in Barbados. Senator Blackman says international investors stand to benefit from government's ongoing move to establish the island, which is strategically placed in the Atlantic Ocean, as a major logistics hub. He made the call while addressing the opening of the United Kingdom's Trade and Investment Mission to Barbados.
The government, of course, taking the lead, working with our partners, will continue to encourage foreign companies to take advantage of our location, particularly given the fact that Barbados is an international hub for logistics. We're building out that capacity, international hub for transport, and therefore the jurisdiction is well placed based on our location to be a hub for inward and outward flows of business, investment, and movement of people.
The United Kingdom Trade and Investment Mission to Barbados, the fifth of its kind, is a collaboration between the UK Department for Business and Trade, Invest Barbados, and the Renfrewshire Business Network. Meanwhile, Regional Trade Director for the UK Department for Business and Trade, based in Barbados, Jamila Ward, says total trade between the UK and Barbados was £560 million in the 4 quarters to the end of 2024.
Barbados is the UK's 4th largest trading partner in CARIFORUM, accounting for 11.14% of all trade. Between January and September 2024, the Barbadian economy grew by an estimated 3.9% year-on-year, driven by dynamism in the tourism and construction sectors. Inflation continued to slow. International reserves remain ample at US $1.6 billion at the end of September, and the national debt has seen a reduction, now only paying 30 cents out of every dollar to service debt. Despite the many polycrises, the near-term economic outlook of Barbados remains positive. Now, I don't need to tell you that it's a great time to do business in Barbados.
Car and motorcycle racing and stunting, along with indiscriminate parking in high-density urban communities, needs to stop. And Prime Minister Mia Moore-Motley has called for a green paper on noise pollution to be done as she addressed the St. Michael Speaks last night at Solidarity House. The anxiety and annoyance endured by members of various communities as a result of the motorcycles and cars stunting and racing in urban neighborhoods was raised by many at the St. Michael Speaks at the Solidarity House last night. Cassandra Bowen of Bank Hall St. Michael says they need help.
Mansion Road has become a major tributary. morning, noon, and night. The road is in need of serious repair, and the unofficial Neighborhood Watch has written to the ministry, MTW, to have some sleeping police put in the road. And that is to stop the motorcyclists from wheeling all through the district.
Prime Minister Mayor Amor Motley says she definitely wants to help her.
Just before coming here, I was in my constituency this evening, and a scrambler bike went through so hard and so loud in a road that got apartments with little children living in them.
Yeah.
And I sent a message through my personal assistant to Santia's people, telling them that St. Michael's Speak start at 5 o'clock this evening, and that the Member of Parliament for St. Michael Northeast is the first complainant. And I ain't joking, because I have asked for humps for Pioneer Road and Civilian Road for the longest time. You understand?
Yeah.
And I've asked for it largely because of the same problem. And the notion that you have these people on scramblers going through.
She added they will also look into a noise pollution green paper. Natasha Prentice of Lower Burney offered a solution to help troubled youth.
Because I was a troubled youth too. So I think more than counselors and psychologists and psychiatrists, you need people who had the experience that reformed themselves to talk to the children. You don't need people that never had an experience coming home and see the mother cuffing the father and go to school and be silent the next day. You need people who have had the experience in doing drugs, smoking, robbing, killing, thieving. You need those people in there to get to these children.
PM Motley is keen on the help.
I want everybody involved pulling weight.
Yes.
You understand? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone.
True.
And secondly, those who have been convicted, there are a whole host of convictions that can be expunged under our law.
Yes.
And we've asked the AG to review them again and see where we are with some of those, because I think that there can still be some tweaking on that system. So I think Kirk has heard you clear. And those who are working, and we need to find a way, and Corey has heard, I believe, and has already down that line. We're working with everybody.
St. Michael Speaks was the last for the year. The PM says the tone of the meeting warmed her. The proverbial red carpet was rolled out for the island's men for International Men's Day. They were treated to prostate, diabetes and high blood pressure checks, massages and manicures and pedicures at the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs. Health education and health products were also on offer. Rachel Agard has that story.
Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, William Warner, says the health fair was conceptualized for two purposes. He says that was to encourage men to improve their health-seeking behaviors and to change the thinking that certain services are only for women.
We have a lot of men who actually came for the prostate testing. Unfortunately, we did not anticipate such a great number, so that was one of the areas that we would have to improve on. But it's a very good thing, and we're very happy to see that men are really taking more interest in the prostate and are coming up to get the testing done.
And the men expressed gratitude for the initiative.
I think it's a very good initiative, and I sincerely hope that there will be many more of it. I came here, well, this is the first time I've ever been to anything like this, and I came this morning with an open mind, but I'm glad I came now.
Too many times, I think you focus on women and what women want. So whoever came up with this idea, I think, and celebrated it today, it is worthy. I think it should be something that probably is long in coming if it was never done before, and it sees us men in a different light.
I'm thankful for this opportunity this morning to be able to enjoy these free services. Normally, men don't turn up to these things. But I'm glad to see so many men here this morning, and I'm glad for the opportunity as a man to be able to take this one. The women will take it, so I see the men should take it too, and I'm very thankful. Men, glad to see you.
It's necessary to take care of our health. We take care of our females, so now today is our day that we need to take care of each other and look out for each other. So I want to encourage you all to come and enjoy what I am going to be enjoying so far. The ambience, the camaraderie, everything is really good. So continue to enjoy this wonderful Men's Day.
Many of the men who attended say they hope to see the initiative replicated in the future. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Communities and parishes across Barbados were celebrated this weekend at the Spirit of the Nation show under the theme Re-engaging, Reigniting, Reimagining. The lion's share of the prizes went to the northernmost parish. Loads of talent were on display, but that rose above all was the mother-son team of Kim and Kadarius Aline, who won the parish talent contest. It was then time for the parish costumes, the project presentation, and formal wear. The attendant of the year went to Damien Bishop of St. Lucie. Committee member of the year, Shamelia Scanterbury, also of St. Lucie. St. Michael took designer of the year, and best formal wear went to St. Thomas. The ambassadors then assembled for the prizes, which were presented by Minister of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment, Charles Griffith. Omari Gittins and Shade Ben of St. Lucie copped the public speaking prize. St. Peter's Lamar Collins and Faith Babb were fourth, St. Lucie's Akil McGarry and Davida Pinder third, and St. Andrew's Tadia Williams and Shante Thorpe second. It was then time for the big announcement.
St. Lucie, Omari Giddings and Shade Ben.
St. Lucie, make some noise.
The Blue took over the gym with the Member of Parliament for St. Lucie, Peter Phillips, celebrating their clean sweep. Sports time now with Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, what's new in sports?
Well, good evening, Wendy. We start with this story that the current system of using tokens to power local community courts and fields is one that Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley is looking to revamp. Speaking at Solidarity House during last night's St. Michael Parish Speaks, Prime Minister Motley said the time has come for the costs to be deflected from the community and for government to find a way to supplement those costs for the use of the lights.
I'm going to ask the Sports Council to tell me in truth, and I meant to do this long time, but you can't remember everything. How much money one is collecting tokens? You understand?
That's what
and instead of collecting the tokens, let me find out how much and let me raise the money elsewhere so that we can get these lights on. And let me tell you why. Yeah. When I was Attorney General, I was the body who started the lights all about the country on the playing fields, because I understood that if they're out there running about all night, playing games all night, that more often than not people too tired to do anything when 11 and 12 o'clock come, even too tired at home, far less out. So I'm saying to you that you're with me. You heard me talk about the schools already, and the community centers, and indeed now the lights. Because to ask a fella to find $30 or $40 or $20 for a month to do lights or a week is good, man. And really and truly government's role, good Lord, I can find money elsewhere. They got other people who should be paying taxes. But ease off the people in the communities and let me get these lights going. Okay? And let these youngsters and get the community groups, the sporting groups, the cultural groups, let Barbados be a buzz.
Wendy, I take my pause here, but when I return, I have lots more, including golf and football.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. In tonight's business report, the focus will be on meals as a cross-section of businesses are partnering with Build Your Business Together and the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme to mark Global Entrepreneurship Week 2024. A wide and varied program of activities has started, and officials of the initiative gave details of the agenda. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Save the meals in our society. That was the message from acting manager of the Youth Entrepreneurship Scheme, Ryan Mosley, as they partner with resource persons to attract males to make use of the opportunities offered to them. He told a recent media briefing for Global Entrepreneurship Week 2024 the lack of males in the workshops was a great concern to officials at YES. He said the disparity between the two sexes was very noticeable and troubling.
And it's extremely troubling for us at YES. And if you have seen our last magazine, it was primarily focused on males, trying to encourage males to take advantage of opportunities. The opportunities are there.
The YES official said he was not against the heavy attention given to females, but the males are being left behind and they have to buck the trend.
We have some special sessions planned focusing on males. We haven't confirmed the school that we're going to target as yet, but you would know from my mouthings where we're looking to go. We're going to also have a session with the Barbados Youth Advanced Corps, which strategically has more male intake than females.
Chairman of the Build Your Business Trust, Lieutenant Colonel David Clark, thanked the partners to the 2024 program and recalled the origins of the organization and touched on a few other points.
30 years have gone very fast, and certainly the work. Also, the landscape by which young people are supported has also changed, and so BYBT has had to change the services they offer, upgrade the way they do things to meet the new landscapes. When we started, there were very few people in the market, both like YES and BYBT, very few people doing training for young people and the giving loans. Now there are a whole heap of people in the market. So BYBT certainly has had to reinvent itself and change with the times, and I would like to thank you all for that support.
Against the theme, Entrepreneurship for Everyone, General Manager of the Build Your Business Trust, Cardell Ferguson, said the agenda is wide and varied and gave details.
We start off with mindfulness and wellness because we recognize that a healthy, well-adjusted person makes for a more sustainable business. Then we're going to start talking about operationalizing sustainability, and then we're going to move on to how do we make our operations and our finances sustainable for growth.
A presentation by African lecturer and researcher at the Mona School of Business and Management, Dr. Kadamabi Knife, and the school's day are included in the week of activities, which ends on Saturday. Trevor Thorpe.
With consumers being warned of high prices this Christmas season as retailers adapt to high freight rates, the managing director of Woolworth Barbados, Martin Bryan, is suggesting that government's VAT-free initiative would benefit businesses and alleviate some financial strain for consumers this Yuletide season.
VAT-free was awesome. VAT-free was, people look forward to that, and we had a good turnover that day. I mean, we had people coming in, especially right before Christmas, where they could buy all their Christmas stuff and buy all their clothes and buy all the toys, etc., etc. And they just took full advantage that day. Everybody, consumers and retailers, benefited that day.
And would welcome it, yeah?
Would endorse it 100% again. Especially these times, times are hard. Inflation is biting everybody. We retailers are seeing it. We're seeing it. Well, I can only speak for Bridgetown, but we are certainly seeing less traffic and less spend than before, and I think that's just a direct reflection of inflation.
That's business. We'll take a break here and be back with the weather. And it's time now to say good evening to Carrie Ann O'Neill on this soggy Tuesday. What more lies in store for us overnight?
Well, good evening to you, Wendy, and good evening, everyone. Today was a wet day, especially during the morning here in Barbados, as Convergence maintained unstable weather conditions. We experienced showers, rain, and thunderstorms. Now, those winds across the region, they are light to moderate, and they're peaking at 9 knots here in Barbados. Afternoon showers and thunderstorms prevailed across the Guianas. The maximum temperature today was 29 degrees Celsius, the minimum 25 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 27 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 85%. Those winds are coming in from the east-southeast. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where those temperatures are ranging from 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows moisture is building across a number of the islands, especially those southern islands. And the winds, they are light to moderate across most of the islands. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where Convergence maintained unstable weather conditions here in Barbados. We experienced showers, rain, and thunderstorms during the morning. We had up to 7.4 millimeters of rainfall in St. Philip. Now those winds are peaking at 9 knots. The seas, they are moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. The tail end of a frontal boundary maintained some showers across the Leeward Islands. And later on tonight, we are expecting clear skies along with cloudy periods, showers, as well as a very slight chance of some isolated thunderstorms. We already are seeing those clouds moving across the island. Now further south, showers and thunderstorms prevailed across the Guianas during the afternoon. Well, that's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 6 and will set at 5:29. The first high tide, that's expected at 7:29 in the morning. The first low at 2 minutes to 1 in the early morning. Those seas moderate in open water with swells peaking at 2 meters. The winds coming in from the east-southeast to the east, they're peaking at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we are expecting clear skies along with cloudy periods, showers, and a very slight chance of some isolated thunderstorms. Over the next 3 days, we can expect localized showers. That's Wednesday into Thursday. Thereafter, it will be partly cloudy along with just a few passing showers.
And we say welcome back to Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, this competition is really heating up.
Oh yes, Wendy, it's a big weekend coming for the Prime Minister's Cup, as the semi-final games will be played at the Friendship Ground on Sunday. As we look ahead, we start with the first semi-final featuring Kickstart Rush and Britain's Hill United. You could call them the babies of the tournament. Kickstart Rush came in with a roster of some of the competition's youngest players. Their youngest at 15 years old, but yet they show that youth can trump experience. Today, they've lost only one game to one of the other semi-finalists, UWA Blackbirds. And what they can boast of having is one of the tournament's leading strikers in Raymar Walters, who sits joint top of the tables, having put 7 goals into the back of the net. Kickstart Rush prides themselves on having a business-like structure to their club, and one where the talent is scouted from a young age and developed. And we can see that's paying off. Team manager Tahir Batson says it's that youth that worked in their favor.
With Kickstart Rush, we have a very young team. We do that in developing youth. So in order to development to that stage, we include them in our senior team lineup, which will give them that exposure and experience. So yes, we have a group of youngsters involved in our team lineup, and I guess that is what boosts the team, because that youthfulness and that energy they produce enhances the team.
Kickstart Rush will have to conquer a more seasoned team in Britain's Hill in Sunday's semis, and they're not leaving anything up to chance.
We're preparing mentally and also physically, so our opponents tend to be a very good team, so we've got to prepare ourselves to get to that level to outperform them on that day.
And there's no doubt that the men from Britain's Hill have been at Valerie, their home ground, putting in all the groundwork to get over the less seasoned opponents. Although, as the stats show, like Kickstart, they too have a loss in the competition, going down to Ellerton, the other semi-final team in the group stages. Bridenstill are no strangers to out-of-season glory and came in as one of the stronger units, being long-standing fixtures in the BFA Premier League. They too have a star striker in Rommel Bino, whose 6 goals so far has him just one off the leading scorers. Team manager Fabian Wharton says much of their drive comes from their St. Michael-based community.
Right now, as a community, we are a sporty community. Bridenstill loves football, and the entire community is very happy that we have made it this far. We have done this before in terms of when it was a Pelican. We would have made it to the final of the first Pelican. Unfortunately, we did not win. But our focus right now is laser sharp on the semi-finals and to ensure that we put ourselves in that finals on the Independence Day.
And while experience may be on their side, the Bridenstill camp will not be sleeping on their Kickstart Rush opponents.
The reality of the situation is, I always say this, and I'll continue to say, football is played on the day. You could be playing Kukuchupeng, right? You have to just go there, execute your plans, and at the end of the day, make sure you outscore your opponent.
And just a little tidbit. All of our semi-finalists emerged from groups C and E of the competition, and this first semi will feature the second-place teams from either group. Kickoff on Sunday for this first semi-final is 6 p.m. Now, the Barbados men's and women's National Rugby Sevens teams are off to Trinidad this weekend to compete in the Rugby America's North Sevens Championship. The men will field a 14-member team, while the women's team is 12, inclusive of 2 players based in North America. Men's head coach Joe Whipple says every game will require for his team to be in top form, as they're in a very competitive group within the Tier 1 system. Meanwhile, the women will be led by head coach Anthony Lambert, and he hopes that despite coming up against some seasoned teams, his ladies' recent successes can help in bringing them to the peak of their game.
This will be a really challenging tournament where we have 2 teams from Trinidad, Mexico, Dominican Republic and Jamaica. It's very exciting for us though, because it means we'll be playing 6 games over the 3 days, which is going to be great for us. It's a very high level of rugby. Mexico played in the 2024 Olympic repechage and I believe in the World Challenger Series Sevens tournament, and Jamaica is also frequently in the top 4 of the Rugby America's North region with the US and Canada, both of whom were medalists at the 2024 Olympics. Rugby Sevens is a very fickle and volatile game, and so we're not really sure how we're going to go, but we are confident that we can build off the success and performance we've had this year, where we were able to defeat Cayman Islands in the 15s rugby game we had early this year, and build on our performance at the St. Vincent Independent Sevens in October, when we came away with the title.
The Larry Gomez Stadium in Arima in Trinidad will be the location for the Rugby America's North Sevens Championship from Friday through to Sunday. Well, Wendy, that's it for sports. Back over to you.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, and we'll be back after the break. Thanks for viewing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.